Hello. Back to some Shaligrams. I'm going to try to really rapid succession some. So quick introduction. I have like 100 hours of analyzing Shaligrams like this video is going to be. All of which are showing that Shaligrams cannot contain fossils and must have been shaped by current flows of water, basically, that was transporting even the grains of the material and then shaping it. And we'll go through some evidence. See some of my recent videos. Let me see real quick. If we go to YouTube and then my videos. YouTube, my videos, Elementary, Dear Watson, that one. Pillars of Truth. But those, a rare sight also, like these are all about Shaligrams. These are not about Shaligrams, but about Earth aspects. Chakra Blue is about features of Shaligrams that I see large scale fractally on the Earth, but it's not about Shaligrams. This one's probably maybe seashells me not. That one. All these. I'm trying to look for like the physics of a Shaligram. Waterworks is definitely very, I believe, one of my better representations. The physics of a Shaligram. That one's 2 hours and takes like an hour to really start to see pseudofossils through the looking glass. I was counting down to 400, so that was 6, really. Not the best, but Buddha, by the way. Some other ones, but I got a playlist, so if you want to check it out, I'll link the playlist. Pardon me for the detour, but like we're gonna go into some details that if you don't understand, we're talking about this from a different angle, it's gonna catch you off guard, so I might as well just tell you. So I'm writing a book. I have a lot of content, really analyzing these, so we're gonna just get into this now, because I have around 70 with images that I've found online. This is from Vedic Vanny, so less like absolutely not a fossil, but there are some nuances that are just kind of like the way it's eroding around here, also over here, like it's literally creating these paths here, but they didn't do so elsewhere, creating them out here, but like the stone was too small, so the current flows that were eroding here did not press into the surface, like they escaped the surface enough to not erode here. Some other stuff, but let's move on. This has been a while. I know there's cool stuff along the way. This one is just like too geometrically like perfect. Like it's got like a mass thing over here, one over here, like counter on this to this thing, and then it's got this shape with a counter one over there with a connection across. None of this is the ammonite. This is the matrix the ammonite is contained within, and yet it has structure itself, which is a little odd. I can understand, oh well, coincidence. I can understand if that's what people want to say, but the more evidence, the more clear it is that this is not coincidence. This is because current flows did it. I don't know exactly what happened here. I could maybe think about it. Because essentially, how the process works, as I talk about all the time because it's so important, is... Oops, if we go to like 60. This one is basically a mass of material is accumulated under high pressure because essentially there's water currents in this region where these are found. These are only found in the Kaligandaki Valley, in the river of the Kaligandaki River, in the Himalayas. They're not elsewhere. Shaligrams are only found there. They're considered to contain ammonites, but the thing is they have features that demonstrate that they cannot. For instance, we'll see, I could just jump to one real quick. For example, this one here looks like it just has an ammonite if you're kind of looking at it from a fossil standpoint. Like, it's got an ammonite here, and then it's got... The thing is, it's got chakras, like this, where it comes together from both sides, and then an opening exists, and an opening with chakras. So this is how these tend to form, is with a central pillar-type region that is still made of material, and then void surrounding it of varying degrees, sometimes only this much, sometimes the whole length outward, sometimes further, sometimes all sorts of things. But the general trend is that there's a central region known as the chakras, which is just, in an ammonite sense, it is where the spiral begins at. And then it spirals out, but then it does something that it shouldn't do if it's a fossil, where it does the same thing. So it has a chakra, another chakra over here, chakra, just like this. It's not like dominant because this is the dominant system, so it doesn't overpower this system in a way where this forms the same structure, but it's still doing the same thing where there's a opening over here and an opening over here. But the thing with this opening is it's clearly part of and parcel to this system. Like, it's not separate, it's exactly at the boundary. It's like, let's move to a different image. It's literally part of it, but the problem is it's not the size that it should be. It's a smaller lobe than it should be. So what is going on here? Is this like a deformed ammonite shell? Is that what is necessary to explain this from a fossilization standpoint? Or just pure coincidence? This is another system. It's not the same ammonite. There's no relationship whatsoever, even though there is. It even has like a path off this way. So if we look at like these, I believe this one, where it forms a lobe, and then out of the lobes, because what's happening is current is flowing, there's water in an eddy trapped inside of this rock. So essentially, I didn't finish what I was saying, sorry. High pressure water flowed through this region, and because it's high pressure and running into resistance, that is present in the region. That is effectively why the Himalayas formed, is because of this boundary of resistance between current flows that was present of water that was flooding the earth during the earth's expansion process, which was the global flood, which dates radiometrically from 541 million years radiometric dating, but is actually only when civilization collapsed. The ancient civilization that is theorized to have collapsed around the Younger Dryas is really the collapse of society because of the flood that caused the earth to expand and caused flows of water to do all sorts of really fascinating things, including running into resistance at the region of Kaligandaki Valley, but essentially cutting a path through the resistance of the valley and gouging through, and as it's doing it, branching off eddy formations while transporting the grains of material of shale, quartz, pyrite, and just the materials of the matrix that then the water would flow into resistance, and essentially because it flows into resistance, it bends and goes another way, but then it flows into resistance because there's all this pressure. And so it basically it ends up swirling as it flows back into its own flow, so then resistance from that leading to just this eddy, at which point materials like shale flowed into the eddy, and the water shaped it, literally compacted it because it's under pressure. It literally pressed it down. It behaved like a fractal system, like an atom, like a galaxy, like a solar system. It mechanically was the cosmos. Like the region was undergoing like a living universe state while high pressures were there, which was then creating literal systems of fractal structures that we don't see the parallels in, like atoms. Like, we don't think atoms can be held in our hand. Here's an atom. Sure, whatever we're holding in our hand is composed of atoms, but the structure of an atom is itself iterative as this repeating thing across scales. So it occurs, it occurs, it occurs, it occurs. And then at some point it becomes so different in appearance that we literally don't see it the same. We say, well, that's atoms, that's a planet, that's a star. When really they're all the same mechanically, the same structurally. It's just seen from a different angle, where we're using always the particles that we are composed of. So it leads to this angle of perception inherently because of this like place in the universe that we exist, which is essentially within an infinite spectrum where there's smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller particles that all behave fractally, iteratively, in the same way, but as they get smaller, they become more subtle to a point where we call them different things and differentiate them and categorize them and classify them and say that, again, that's planets, that's atoms, that's photons. And then at some point, we don't even recognize their existence and just say, and just describe their effects as a collective, as gravity and electromagnetism, when really those things are manifested by these subtle yet abundant infinitesimal particles that fill the cosmos with this like baseline substance of nothingness, pretty much, that's infinite abundance, but is the universe. Like, if you could zoom in on it, you wouldn't see nothingness. You would see literally the universe being the same. If you could actually zoom in on it, like if you could look at the sun and see a planet, like somehow change the wavelength so substantially that it is actually seen differently, then we would be like peering between the octaves, essentially. Okay. But so current gets in here, and in here, under pressure, like all this current is flowing under pressure, getting closer, compacting this material, but then it flows into the material and gets to the center, generally speaking, where it then eddies and starts to physically etch the material in that region out of the rock, which then differentiates it. It basically removes the small particles. It's like, you're too small, water's coming through, it just pushes it along, transports it out. But the larger particles stay in, which leads to this tendency for there to be this actual difference in materials. It's not because a shell was here and then some other material came in and filled the rock. It is because the current flows differentiated the material as it formed the rock. And so as the pressure, though, as water gets in, the pressure builds. So then imagine there's only a lobe out to here and out to here. So it has a lobe here and here, but then the rock is only here. Like there's rock here and no opening. And over here there's rock, no opening. And it etches, and it basically etches smaller one and then a larger one. So then next in line it comes back over here, etches here, and then it etches over here. But as it's doing this, it then, like, the pressure is overwhelming still. So even when it got to this size, it tried again to etch into another tier. So it started to etch this way to create another lobe out here, but then it's at the boundary of the rock. So it was more able to, I guess, just like exhaust excess current, so it didn't, that was flowing this way and this way, so it like got it out into the beyond this region, like beyond the protected by the face, like out into the open over here. And in that location it was able to just not have to erode into the rock anymore, maybe. Whereas over here the pressure almost like fills up, like it fills up across here, fills up, and then it erupts from the top here. And then in the same way, fills up by currents flowing this way and this way that are basically colliding, but filling up pressure this way. And then erupts out the tip here, and then vice versa, because it's an eddy, filling pressure this way. Essentially, currents that flow along the structure that it's forming collide with one another at energetically optimal points, in essence, where the peak collision is happening, the most current over all of the pressure of anything on this side that's pushing outward is pushing out along this and causing current along here, just along this direction and end up top, which then leads to like a pinching point. So it's just the energetically proper places of current flow is happening here, and then it does it interestingly, like it does this side in a manner that's more like leading to the top erupting, bottom and side, whereas over here it's more like a 1/3, 2/3 position around the structure of the lobe, which I think is related to the two interacting. Like as one fills, it leads to pressures the other way, which almost are put out like braces to resist the pressure the other way, which then those braces lead to current flows through the braces that lead to etching those paths. Okay, so let's keep going. This one's definitely got some interesting features. Maybe I should just jump to some more recent ones because I really haven't. I'm on like 9:30 now, and I don't think this is probably months ago when I saved this image, which is okay. We can just look at it. It's just I don't know which ones are gonna be the most interesting. I don't want to like. It's all right. Okay, so this is pretty cool in terms of this. What's going on there? That's kind of odd. Definitely can see it there. Like if this is an ammonite, why would it be interacting through the matrix like that? Like a fossil. I still call them ammonites, like whatever. But a fossil. If this was a fossil, why would it do that? Coincidence? Literally, that's the only way to answer that question. With like an answer within plate tectonics. Modern interpretation. So here's just an anomalous one, like the chakras forming there. It got really elongated looking. It's only half of it. Like it could have formed around this and had like a chakra structure, seemingly. That's my interpretation just at a glance. Like it looks like it's kind of got a chakra there. Yeah, it looks right like it rises as it approaches it. Which is from Mangulum Jewelry, which is this one. That's this one. So this rock, which has this face, which also has like a crack doing the similar thing over here from right there across, and doing it with a band, like across width. Like what the... That then has like a crack going this way over here. Looks like there's some lines going across this way too. Like generally to over here between them. Like a direct circuit between them almost. Of exchange. Goes around this way too, and over here, and it has that structure in the front of it, so it's not just the front. Not just this rounded part, but it continues in like tiers around the top, which is not part of a fossil. This is part of the matrix that the fossil is said to be contained within. So why is the matrix being so complex? We can maybe say, like, it's interacting with the shell, and the shell is causing certain flows that are then leading to the structure. I guess someone could say that, but it, like, could they really capture its essence? Like, why is it going? Like, it has a this thing that goes across here even has a segment that it like breaks over here. So it's almost like, and there's another one around it here. What about the ammonite structure, which is facing this way, would encourage the matrix to have a structure that wraps around it this way? Doesn't even make sense. But if there's eddy flows, I mean, reminiscent of the really big shaligram I talked about in my last episode or two. I think the last episode, the previous thing I did was a not underground science video. So I don't see anything that's especially reminding me of why I like save this one. Let's go back, sorry. Pardon me. Let's see. I might have just saved it. In case there's definitely some stuff going on, nothing that's so pronounced that at a glance that would be like, this isn't a fossil. I mean, maybe something with some more closer inspection. It does seem like there's current paths coming out of here, wrapping around and going over that way, like in these. Maybe then a current was going this way, and then out this way, which then ran into it, went across. It's almost like it's extending. Like that one we looked at that had the next lobe, like a smaller one, like current comes out, enters into a space, starts to erode, and then it erodes closer and closer until it like completes the structure. Creating dendrites along the way. All the nuances. Possibly. It's also got some, like, these things in there that kind of remind me of the physics of the shaligram, and parts of the shaligram I talk about. Okay, let's go past this one, though. Looks less exciting. This one's, again, got this current coming out of the end. Looks like it might actually have some more detail over there in terms of like the structure of the ammonite. Yeah, it goes right to the right there. Like, why would it do that? It's not. It's coming right from here. Basically the tip. Maybe the like dominant and recessive, let's say. Like there's the top half. Imagine there's a eddy that exists that's swirling, and there's a top and there's a bottom, like in terms of like dominant direction of like gravity, let's say. So there's a top and a bottom to the eddy. So maybe the top half generally pushes down on the bottom half to create a balance point that's not quite center, that actually is staggered down like a center of gravity that is lower, which then is basically this point where the top half of the eddy and its forces on the bottom half of the eddy are in equilibrium, which then is this location where current flows out of the boundary of the two, and then it flows over to like extend the structure. It doesn't really look like it's fully formed from here to over there, and yet when we see this, like, we see the structure is forming, at least was being formed. It also looks like it was happening over here. Like, it doesn't stop here. Like, that's ammonite structure. That is, like, the coloration's different. So it definitely was doing it on both sides. So then that current went back that way to the bottom, and then another current went off the top and went back this way. Another seemingly went back this way, maybe. So, like, went out this way, and then it looks like current went over this way into this area. Maybe went up this way and up this way, leading to a current going across that way. I don't know if it shows signs of that. Like going up here and across there to like feed into that too. I don't know. Possibly something related to this structure, like currents potentially flowing this way, but then like ramp up it. Notice it's kind of forming a chakra. So like if this had enough material, enough pressure, enough everything, it could have literally removed this material, formed a new chakra down here that was further down, and made it just kind of elongate the chakras. Wider opening. Like it's doing it. It looks like it might be generally in line with the chakras too. Some current paths, like out of here and etching or in. Probably coming out here and back in over here. But then some of it that couldn't get in just like went these ways. In terms of a dominant recessive, there's probably layering that then like it can interact. Like the flows tend to layer in different directions, but they can push into each other's boundaries and then abruptly boom, resistance kind of thing. But like their stable state is actually forming structures where they flow adjacent to one another. Okay, so that's that one. This one's got one of those currents coming out the side. Just eroding this jet stream like path, and up there too. We're going in, I guess. It could be going around and in here, into the rock, like down this path, and just almost creating a channel like this. It's hard to say. I haven't really figured out how these happen. I generally interpret them to be exit currents. That seems to make more sense to me. Like pressure is pushing in, and then like creating some kind of jet stream out as a result. That then is really cuts through though, because it's under all this pressure. So it doesn't always create this jet stream out, but when it does, it's boom, it cuts through, kind of thing. Okay. So notice also this shape. Like it's kind of got almost like a peanut. Let's go here real quick. Just jump down because this one's pretty crazy. There it is. Like what? Why would this do this? From a fossilization standpoint, why would a fossil in a matrix do this? I know what it looks like. We don't have to... Look, we're all adults here, maybe. I don't even know. It's like splitting in half, though. Some kind of fractal process. Come across things like this several times. It's like, what are we doing? We gotta like have a better explanation. Like these demand explanation when rocks are shaped like this. People are just like concretions. Like, dude, that's not enough, or whatever explanation. This one, these are said to be eroded in rivers. How did a river do this? Just happenstance. Just time erosion. Coincidence. Coincidence. Okay, let's move back though before I get distracted. It just kind of reminded me of the way this is. Notice it even has like a band, like a looks like it kind of goes in just subtly. Just subtly, there's a little crack there. Where is it etching? Like dividing. Possibly literally dividing because of this jet stream. Where it like went out and around the rock and came back in, kind of thing. I don't see any sign of it coming back in. Okay. Another one with just like a... Here's something. There's some openings down here that like these, but down below. So like eroded openings at a lower level, it seems. Or maybe not. Maybe it's correct. But then it's connected over here where water got out of this segment, but then didn't actually erode this, but did erode here as well. So it's got this going on. I don't remember why I took this one particularly though. This is crazy. What? Oh yeah, no, kind of got an idea. Just the shape again. Here again, it's like eroding in weird ways where it's not really fully forming like a consistent structure. It's over there, over here a bit, over here we can see it a bit. Yeah, so it goes over this way, and then it goes down a bit, but then it really goes down. It goes over that way. Which is not what ammonites would do. If they were seashells, they would just wouldn't do these things. This one looks... Sorry guys, I thought about starting from the end and going backward, but this seemed appropriate. I'm just gonna kind of go through real quick. I mean, they're incredible. I don't want to skip things. Like, I'm like, dude, this one's got lots of cool stuff. Hold up. Hold the phone. This is from Anglum Jewelry on Etsy. It's got the pyrite up here, and then like a divide, and then like a region of more shale. Oddly. Hard to tell the details in here. It's a little difficult to tell if there's anything particular of interest that's more than just like ammonite stuff going on. This happens a lot where it erodes, so that's kind of like what we're talking about with those points, top, bottom, and far end, but just around. When it's traced around the total eddy, then that top point forms a spiral line, or bottom point forms a spiral line that then etches like that at times, and is a structure that forms in these, where it etches like that, and then abruptly stops the etching at a far enough point outward. Where like pressure is exhausting, so it can't really etch as easily. Doing again that off the like the bottom slash 1/3 type of thing going on over here, but just not really cohesively forming it. Definitely forming some kind of like the teeth looking things going on down here. Just not cohesive. Not forming even like a shape that really looks like it would be the next one in line off of this. I guess position seems off. Like it wasn't fully doing the thing, which is why I probably didn't do the thing. Lots of cool features. Lots of things that probably, like, if we had this stone and really looked in all the crevices, like, as close as we could, there would be lots of details to add. Like, there looks to be some openings in a row there, and then this larger opening. Generally look to be somewhat related to the ammonite structure, like some kind of venting from this area, like undercurrents flowing atop the structure that are literally forming its boundary, that then are flowing atop it over here too, but then like over here it can somewhat exhaust. Over here it kind of is stuck in the stone, so it exhausts this way, it seems. It even has a threading that maybe we can find. some random teeth in there. That's really, this is perhaps one of the most interesting parts of the stone, this like chakra connection point here. It's even like this ammonite structure literally is a chakra connecting to this structure, to the matrix. And then there's adjacent chakras of the ribs of the ammonite, but not formed as ribs, but instead formed as chakra type things that are not connected to opposite systems, but crazy. Okay, okay, so that's that one. Doing it again, going off this side, just doing it a bit. Looks like it did it even down here, but didn't do it over here. Maybe there somewhat. Can almost see this like segment, like kind of like this segment just over here, like an actual segment of another lobe where it forms like a boundary there, and like this area becomes a dendritic structure, like a neutron. Whoa, what in the... Just a like a venting point. That's right. Do we see that hole elsewhere? No. Okay, let's just check out the video. Sorry guys, this is probably pretty slow. It's been a while. I just was like, I'll record. Now I'm like, eat a cherry. What can I say? I'm like, oh yeah. Doing it again there, again there, again there. There, see, it's kind of forming that same shape over there. More though. So we go back. Very much the same. You can see little like up down, up down. Almost like, I don't know. I don't know what to make of those things really, particularly. Something's pushing boundaries. And it ain't me. Okay, me too. Me. Okay, dude, get over yourself. Bro, come on, man. What am I supposed to do? Just be like this? Yeah, doing this stuff is boring. I find no enjoyment in this. Looks like current went in there almost. It went in there. What is going on in there? Like it almost looks too circular, especially compared to this side. What the hell? From a fossil standpoint, what the hell? I don't know exactly what's going on in there, but I don't want to have to inspect every shaligram and like come to some like academic conclusion on its exact mechanism of formation in terms of every detail. I mean, I've done a pretty... I feel like I've just done enough. It is what it is at this point. This is all bonus material. Bonus material. Notice it's kind of doing a similar thing to that one we were looking at. The first one. It's different, but similar. To this one. This one, do you see the similar? Okay, that's just rude, dude. It's just fucking rude, man. There. I slapped myself for you. It was very, very painful. Okay, there's some openings where current came through. Little chakra type thing forming there. And the video of it's okay. Definitely a cool shaligram. Let's keep going though. Some stuff going on over there. Still some stuff going on over there. I'm a little curious, I forget. Really cool in there. Isn't it so cool the way it has... It's like it... I feel like even in instances like this, I'm like, how is a shell doing this? Like, it's literally between the layers. All this complexity is interacting across into here. Like, this is so incredible. It's folding over all these finger things. Basically, places where currents flow. Because they don't just, like, carve a huge path. They carve, like, the necessary paths. That pressure induces some kind of connection between the opening from the front and the top over here going on some reason. Still that structure. It looks like it's got kind of like a ammonite. Whoa. What is going on here? Where's this going? Oh, where'd that go? Darn, I don't know. Where did that go? To the bottom. To there. Oh, there it goes. Whoa. So notice this. It's basically like the ammonite structure, but then the way this boundary is here, which is matrix on top of the ammonite structure, looks like this matrix is being shaped the same way this matrix is. It just hasn't yet, but it's being shaped like a tier upward. So maybe, like I was mentioning, they go like layering, where current's flowing one way and the other way, and like nearby layers that can sometimes even space from one another across the material, maybe. And like induce something of this nature. I don't know. Where there's actually different layers, or maybe going the same way it does both, but it seems a little odd that it would segment. Okay, well, again with that over the top thing. And then here, like, why? Tell me why. Why would a fossil yield a secondary fracture line here? It doesn't make sense. And notice it's even doing it around it. It's got that lobe, that little protruding segment like over here. Protruding, protruding, protruding. And then going around, it just didn't have the material. Again, going around, didn't have the material. I don't know why it did this. This is strange. It must be pointing at things. Like, physically. Like, my thought would be maybe something, some kind of current in this area that then went around this way, but then ended up going over here for some reason. And, like, wrapped around this way. Then this. What about this? Like, it's continuous too. There's no gap. Here is a gap, but here there's not. This is one material. Isn't that strange how it's a one material where this anomalous, like, exhaust point exists where it didn't need to cut here because it had this other stuff going on? Looks like I was trying to cut back here too, like actually, to like just literally cut the material off. And then down here, lobe, lobe, chakras. Just subtly imprinted. Because that's how it goes. It doesn't always get imprinted perfectly. Like, if we go Shaligram groups, disprove science, like this one, like the chakra is not formed. The lobe is just subtly imprinted. The lobe is subtly imprinted, but the ammonite has been etched around it enough here to tell that it's really an ammonite structure, but it's subtly an ammonite structure everywhere else where the chakras have these like lines. They got this boundary here. Similar thing going on here, just way more subtly. It's almost like if current flows, it runs into resistance, eddies, until it can then cut through that resistance, and then it be like, it didn't just like cut through all of it, it cuts through some resistance, enough to like get past some boundary, and then it gets into some other region where then it runs into resistance again. So then it has two locations adjacent to one another that both require eddy type things to get through, and that then form such things and then feed into one another and lead to then like some, maybe even like a change in the dimensions of how they interact. Like they're interacting. There's an eddy here, there's an eddy here, and then they form like a eddy like this to join one another. Oh, at some point, like as the process goes on, that then forms another eddy that then is like connected more as one unit, which then is much more the ammonite type structure at that point. Do, 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 do. We're only on 872. Oh my god. I was like, maybe I can make it through 70 somehow. I'd have to just be clicking. Look at this one. And science reread. The end. Any questions? Too bad. The end. So here's some of these like teeth. Like these things are teeth. They're like up, down, like really visible here. These things. Some of those kind of things going on over here for some reason. You can really see the teeth type structures down here, even though it's not the same. Like it's a gap. There's a huge gap. If there was a fossil, if there was a shell that got caught in a matrix, trapped in a matrix, turned into a fossil, how would it retain both the imprint and the ammonites ribs so that they both have these structures like down here and up here? See the layering? So it's literally doing that like right next, just a little thin sheet of material that is pushing, like one current is pushing the material into the other current and it's holding it there enough that it's not like etching, like their pressures are not removing the material, but they're just etching around it and then forming a channel that then is like directly adjacent with this thin sheet between that then is much less pronounced probably as it goes like deeper down and through the layers that must be happening at that point. And then this like exhaust point, maybe it looks kind of like a shape here and like ammonite sifuncles are said to be at the boundary over like there, so that wouldn't really be a sifuncle. And it's really more like one of these, and yet it's physically in a relevant position, like the center. It's in a energetically relevant position. Why is there a hole there? This side just kind of fades. We don't even see, like if there was an actual shell, why would the shell not be visible there? In terms of its influence on the stone. I guess we don't see a better image, unfortunately, there. But like, why wouldn't it be like this? Shouldn't the shell have continued over here? Why is the matrix across there? Almost as if the current got out the end. Like, physically escaped the rock out here and didn't come back. Please don't go. I'm like, don't escape. Don't physically escape and not come back. That sounds... Okay. Bunch of little puncture holes. The current was coming out there. Some things going that way, oddly, and that way. Bunch of stuff going on there. Little arc. Like the teeth shapes. Whoa. Just arcing all the way across. Arc. This one's arcing. This one's arcing. Arc. This arc seems to go up that way too. Arc. Whoa. Eroding in there. Kind of starting what could be maybe an ammonite structure, but it's not getting that far along there. Maybe. Or it was an exit point from the other region, but I don't know. Some more jet stream type things going on here. Like, that's crazy. Whoa. Why is there a circle there? That's crazy. Like, it's not just like this one, where it's just like the boundary of one of these things. It's like a circle. That's so weird. Can definitely see it over there still. Makes me think like a little ammonite was forming there. Like between the dendritic segments. Like it got caught in the nook there. Some kind of eddy form there. That just formed an ammonite type structure. I don't know. So here's some nonsensically positioned ribs. Like this ammonite should not have ribs here. I guess this might be atop it. Okay, we got a piece here. So this is a center of a piece on top. So maybe this, let's see what we can see now. Like it literally is one with. Let's see. This seems like it would go down, like it's only half of it, and then right at the boundary, like this. Here's what I'm gonna say. This mass, clearly is over here, and seems to go to over here, and then on the other side, inward side, over this way, up this way. So like the mass is all the way out here, and yet this ammonite has teeth structures into it here, showing that they influence one another in a way that physical shells could not. Let's see if we get a better image of it though. Nope. So this is also Mangalum jewelry. Really incredible. I don't know if I noticed that part. And then some erosion back here. Like really a curious erosion over here. Like what's going on there? Okay, let's see. Next one. I believe what I found most interesting about this one was over here. It's just not regular, like especially here. Like this doesn't really follow ammonite structure, but it does look kind of like a chakra. Tears. I don't know why. I don't see necessarily an opposing chakra. Apparently, I really thought this area was interesting. Like it's connected. Some of it is, at least. That's crazy. Little chakras across. Okay, then we got this going on, where this structure just kind of jumps. And then over here, and here, and up here, and here. There's like erosional paths going on. Something weird going on with the way it's eroding over here and interacting over here. I guess maybe there's some kind of pressure from current flows going out these ways that the flow going this way ran into and like behaved abnormally over here. This one, oh my god, connected gap, different shape. Like look at this wavelength. Wavelength A, wavelength B. Wavelength A. Like it's not even like one or whatever this is. I don't know. It's like one. It's like a single wavelength or whatever. Back to the starting point. Well, over here it's many. Anyway, but then it's got these going off the side, so it's kind of making like a chakra down here, like a larger tier where like this material could get removed and so on. It's got some ribs out all the way over here too. What's up with that? What is up with that fossilization world? What you got? Look at these current paths etched in the surface. Oh my god. Coming out of this of here, bending. Going over here. Interacting with something maybe going across this way. Because there's a lot of interacting currents. Going over to this region specifically, not so much to this one. Looks like there's some going that way. But not so much. Whoa. It's like a person with a shell head. Hey, shell head. Hey, Shellhead. I'm talking to you. It's like he's got a little... He's holding something. He's got like a wand or some kind of... I don't know, like... The cheerleading things. Pom-poms. Something in both hands, maybe. Not like a police officer waving people through. Or like a airport person. Hey, pom-poms aren't on sticks, are they? I don't know. Whatever. Something on a stick in both hands. Okay. Kind of eroding and stops. But like, what's up with this? Hey, fossil guys. I got another one for you. Yeah, here's another one. How about this? Why? Tell me why. Why it is that this here shell has an opening into itself with ribs just kind of randomly in the midst of itself. Like this is continuing, and then opening. And then it stops. But it clearly has the structure, so it can't be like unrelated to the ammonite. It's not like it's subsequently happened by river erosion or something, where it's just some subsequent erosion. Like it's clearly something related to the ammonite in terms of just generally being like some shells trapped in there in the other shell that created some like appearance of a second shell. But notice it even has like an opening here and then this connection through along this rib channel and then opening. Isn't that odd? Like it selectively is occurring in relationship to things potentially. Maybe I'm extrapolating too much. I don't know. This man is just talking nonsense. Even though this shell makes no sense. Good luck. Well, the fossil. The interpretation of fossil. This is crazy. I never noticed this. Holy shit. It goes across here. Down this way. Across here. I don't know if you've seen my other videos, dudes. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it. It's probably not down here. I really need... It's kind of like that. Something I drew on. I drew on the Shaligram. Oh my god, maybe... View... Medium... This might be hard too. I really want to compare them because it's kind of incredible. I never would have anticipated seeing it again. Oh no. Feel free to skip ahead while I'm done looking at this here list. I don't know if this is any faster because they're so little. I kind of gotta look a little closer at them. There it is. There it is. We found it. Same type of thing going on where it's got lines, different angles though, so that's what I'm doing here. This spiral goes this way. Where this one gets bigger this way. So they're going in opposite directions in terms of the spiraling. So it's almost like necessary to mirror. So if we mirror, like these are the same mirror-wise. Up here is generally similar to what we can see up here. And then down on the bottom is not. It's similar over here, but over here it's going more that way. So maybe, let's see. This side's just not very easy to see anyway. But it would presumably continue to start going this way. Like around. Because essentially what I was saying here was current was flowing out of these things. Out of here. But then into like certain paths that it just vented like almost like a triangle, like a saw blade. Like a saw blade, I guess. Like a saw blade. Well, that's crazy. We see it coming this way and then abruptly bending this way, where this is going directly across here. We can kind of see some across this way. This is more the surface of the stone, less eroded into the stone kind of thing. Like this. Not so much the ammonite region. This one's out of this world. I haven't even really looked at it that closely. All I know is what the fuck, dude. Let me show you. Before we look at this. Here we go again. I need to find another shaligram. Maybe we'll go to large. Where could it be? If I was that shaligram I'm thinking of in my head, where would I be? Well, I'd probably be up further in the list. Yeah. Sorry guys, it just is what it is. I don't, what can I say? I just gotta kind of babble sometimes and say silly things and just talking to myself. People are like, what is up with this dude? Where is it? There it is. I found it. So notice. I believe this is it. Fuck. Not it. Not it, maybe it. Maybe close enough. Kind of the same principle. Like something like this is going on here in the overall rock. Where there's like a piece of an ammonite up here that then has like other parts, but then it was eroded to have all these other features in it, is kind of how I interpret it, so that it really has like the overall characteristics like of these shapes, over the way it's shaped over here. Like notice it's got like then, like, especially this angle, if we compare it here to this, like the features up here are much like this. Like it's a part of an ammonite, but like that ammonite has been rewritten time and time again with other structures. Like there's another ammonite in here. There's another one right adjacent to that, it looks like. Like eddies spawning off of an adjacent eddy right next to each other. It's really like a proton, probably, in that setting. Like a fractal setting. It's probably like a proton specifically, because protons are really places where eddies are, and neutrons are things that hold the eddies in place, pretty much, and prevent the eddies from pushing outwards and the system collapsing pretty much from exhaust. Like once this type of thing breaks the shell, it's very much like a reset button sometimes. Like if there's a ammonite forming inside of a stone, and then it starts to actually etch an opening in the stone to exhaust, then that structure no longer is contained the same way, so then the rock pretty much starts again, and at times, and a new process occurs where the surface is treated by the currents in almost like a restart type of way, where it's just smoothed down, but the structure, in this case, it looks like the structure was like super energized somehow, like currents flowing into it that were just really abnormal. There's probably so many details to this Shaligram that I could probably look at it a long time. I don't know what exactly to make of it, like in its totality, except for that, especially it is like this. Like it's, for example, just real quick. Shaligram groups, pieces of ammonite. Like this. Like a piece that has been removed from a larger stone and since resurfaced and smoothed down. And there's an ammonite in, I believe, in that one. Or maybe not in that one. There's an actual ammonite, like in this, where there's a piece, like a whole piece, that then within the hole are smaller ammonites. Mass void. Proton, neutron. Maybe. Still trying to figure those, like, exact details out, and I recognize that it's iterative still, so, like, this is not just, let's say, for example, a proton and a neutron. It's also like a different atom, literally. It's just seen from different angles. Like we can see it as a single unit, proton, neutron, or we can see it as all these chambers within it, and then suddenly it has all sorts of like neutrons and protons, so it's like becomes another system seen from a different angle, but it's the same system, kind of like I was saying earlier. Kind of like that. Wait a minute. Why am I talking to you if you're the same system as me? Well, you are me. Fuck. You know, I won't get it. It's sad truth. I won't get it. World's gonna freaking melt because of me. But then again, that's because of you too. Because you're me. Oh. Pardon me. Pardon me. Cherry's pretty good. Okay, I should probably stop. Definitely some cool stuff there. Again, eroding through. Interestingly, doing it specifically like along the channel and not eroding where the ridge is. Like skipping the ridge. Crazy. Linearly, like not in line with the whole, but clearly related to it. Science is oblivious when it comes to Shaligrams. When it comes to pretty much everything, I mean, not oblivious. I don't want to shit on people or science as a whole, but like collateral damage of basically shitting on people. Science sucks. Wait a minute, I made that science. What are you trying to say? Well, I make this discussion about you, but we can do this if you want. What I'm trying to say is that shit's wrong, bruh. What you want? Don't worry, you'll get a participation trophy. Oh shit, same. I don't know what I'm wrong about. Probably a lot of things. Besides like social things, I mean. All sorts of things I'm wrong about in ways like that. But in terms of like the nature of physics and reality, as far as physics is concerned, I mean the only way I'm really wrong even there is if you guys are all fucking with me. I mean, it's sad truth. Look, bro. I know you a noob. Just getting started, being a god. Round these parts, we troll, bruh. Round these parts, we don't skimp, we troll. We troll and troll. The depth of the troll you can't even fathom, bruh. You still stuck in it. I can tell you to your face and you still won't even believe it. It's sad truth. It's almost like you're stuck in that world. You need that activation energy for the reaction to proceed, huh, bruh? Well, too bad. Because you've been an asshole. Ah, shit. What do you mean I've been an asshole? Moi? Moi? No. Don't be ridiculous. Don't. You don't need to hit replay. We don't need to see it. How'd you even get? So the. Well, if you got the Akashic record access, then you know the future. So what's up? It's bullshit. You kinda cheating, bruh. Got the Akashic record judging me with that shit. Bruh. Bruh. People are like, what in the fuck? Oh no. That's a cool Shaligram. Let's just go past that one. Let's see if that's cool too. Okay. 884, 885 looks pretty mediocre in a lot of ways. I mean, it's cool. Sorry, Shaligram. I didn't mean to say mediocre about a Shaligram. Those are words that do not really are not really compatible. They can't really be accurately used in the same sense. It's just in terms of holy shite. There I was, no shit, saying this was a mediocre Shaligram. It was like, excusez-moi. Excusez-moi. Pardon-moi, monsieur. Je pense que j'écoutais? Je sais pas. D'accord. That's all I got. Don't expect me to speak French. Okay, guys. Connects across and then a lobe. That's so odd. It's kind of reminiscent again, like that first one, in terms of the way. Do I have it in here? There it is. Good. There's a good chance that Shaligrams, not to start a new sentence, Shaligrams have their features named, like certain features. Like, this is the bow of Krishna or whatever. Or Vishnu. I don't know. Brahman. It's a bow of someone. I think maybe Vishnu. And, like the arrow and things. Like, they got certain structures that repeat themselves on Shaligrams to a point where they've been labeled because they look like things with, like, relationships to those things. So, like, the bow, the arrow, etc. I wouldn't be surprised if this, like, hook shape with, like, a connecting thing that's going on over here and here. Even though this one is, like, part of a lobe. It almost suggests this is sort of trying to form a lobe, like down and in, kind of eddy, like perpendicular to the ammonite. In a way like this. I don't know. It suggests by the comparison, I don't know if it would have been. Again, eroding. Oh my god. Little connections across threadings. Time, erosion, Coincidence. What is going on here, Mr. Coincidence? Almost like an inlet. Like this area had a current flow in that just kind of swirled and held pressure. While around it, maybe another current swirled in another direction generally. And their boundary created this structure, but with like an inlet channel specifically. Okay. I'll see you guys sometime. Hopefully a little more. I don't know. This was good. There's just some shaligrams I've seen. The reason I'm recording is because I've been coming across some shaligrams that are just like, dude. 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 I'm trying to think if there's any individual one. I mean, like, the connection. This one's insane. Just insane. Look at the connections between the systems. Threaded, boom. Threaded, boom. Even like the way the matrix is, like dark, light. This here, like the erosion, doing this is so blatant in this. Oh my god. Like here, up this way, joins into this one, even though it's this one. Nah. Dudes. Wakey.